Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's On Disciplining the Soul, Kitab Riyadat al-Nafs, translated by Timothy Winter Abd Hakim Murad. We have reached page 61, the very last thing that we have read, the four types of men, of people, those classes of people, or four classes of people. The first is a man whose heart is so engrossed in the remembrance of God that he pays no heed to the world. So, someone who is fully uh, present in the notion of dhikr, into it, 100%, and there is someone who is 100% negligent, and there are two types in between where they have mixed both in a sense, but in one case, remembrance is predominant within this relationship, and in the other, uh, negligence, tending to this world, or loving this world and not heeding the call. Um, and each one of them, of course, will have a different fate in the hereafter. The last three, one of them eternally, the very last one, the one who denies, rejects. This is the very notion of kufr, really, covering the truth, denying the truth, rejecting the truth. In fact, attacking the truth. That will be in hellfire for eternity. The one whose heart, this is the position of Imam Ghazali here, and I say here because I will say something shortly, inshallah. Uh, the one who mixed this and that, a believer, a monotheist, will go to hellfire, but quickly will be saved from it. And the other one, where the world is predominant, will be longer in hellfire, but still will be saved if he or she is a monotheist. Now we continue reading. Imam Ghazali assumes a certain uh, objection, uh, because this is the area of halal, the area of mubah, and he says that I'm going to use the Arabic first, and then the translation. ربما يقول قائل إن التنعم بالمباح مباح، فكيف يكون التنعم بسبب البعد من الله عز وجل. The following objection may be raised: since the enjoyment of permitted things is itself permitted, these cannot be a cause of remoteness from God. Imam Ghazali responds: this, however, is a feeble notion, for the love of this world is the source of every sin and invalidates every good deed. The first thing about about التنعم بالمباح, okay, enjoying that which is permissible. Imam Ghazali himself in Kitab al-Sabr wa Shukr, when he spoke about the rich man who could give away his money, part of his money, Uh, in that context, he says, or uses if he does not give out charity other than zakah, of course, um, then he uses that for that which is mubah. And he did not there in the Kitab Sabr al-Shukr, the book of patience and gratitude, he did not raise any issue with the mubah in that context. The other the other issue in this particular response, after saying that this is a feeble notion, he said that the as a proof that supports his position against that which is permissible, the mubah, he said, "For the love of this world is the source of every sin." Now, حب الدنيا رأس كل خطيئة. Uh, this hadith, and I'm going to mention every thing that I came to know about this hadith. This hadith is daif. That's one position. This hadith ونسبه بعضهم إلى الوضع, forged all together. In إتحاف السادة المتقين مرتضى الزبيدي in his تخريج, he said that رواه البيهقي في الشعب بإسناد حسن إلى الحسن البصري مرسلا مرفوعا. Okay, so بإسناد إلى الحسن البصري. And also he said وهو, meaning this hadith, حب الدين رسول الخطيئة, he said عند البيهقي في الزهد وأبي نعيم في الحلية في ترجمة الثوري من قول عيسى عليه السلام. The same hadith, مرتضى الزبيدي and حفصة المتقين, his commentary on Ihya Ulumuddin, in his verification of this hadith, he said that also that Al-Bayhaqi, like this is a second account in a different book. It's in the book on Zuhd. وأبي نعيم, in the entry about Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah, attributed to Isa alayhi salam, Jesus Christ peace upon him, and not to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also the Zabidi said that وعند ابن أبي الدنيا في مكايد الشيطان من قول مالك بن دينار. So they talk about عند أبي الدنيا, it's not even definitely it's not a hadith. It's not even one of the Sahaba. We talk about later generations of Muslim. And still there are other and there is a like the companion who said to the Prophet ﷺ that the man, meaning one of us, loves that his clothing will be nice and his shoes will be nice, and he used the word loves. And the Prophet ﷺ, of course, did not have a problem with that, for the context is about arrogance, and it's not about what people could dress. And the part of the hadith, إن الله جميل يحب الجمال. After mentioning this hadith, Imam Ghazali continues, for a permitted thing which is in excess of what one needs is also a thing of this world and a source of remoteness from God, as will be discussed later in the book of the condemnation of the world. في كتاب ذم الدنيا. إبراهيم الخواص said, rahimahullah, when I was once on Mount Al-Likam, I beheld a pomegranate tree and conceived a desire to eat from it. I took one pomegranate and split it open, but found it sour. So I left it and continued on my way. In due course, I saw a man lying on the ground with hornets swarming over him. Peace be upon you, I said. And he replied, and upon you be peace, Ibrahim. Ibrahim al-Khawas was puzzled. How did he know his name? He asked him, how did you know my name? I demanded. And he said, he who knows God knows all things. He who knows God knows all things. من عرف الله عز وجل لم يخفى عليه شيء. I think there's a big difference between he knows everything and لم يخفى عليه شيء. It's not that he knows everything. We know that from the verse of the throne, آية الكرسي, ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء. And they, meaning people, they will not encompass any knowledge of God except that which He wills, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So cumulative knowledge even of all humanity. You see the now 8 billion people. I wonder whether they will ever reach the 10 billion as they have predicted by 2050. Uh, Allahu alam. But all of them, from Adam alayhi salam to the very last person on earth on the day of judgment, their cumulative knowledge is partial. So here, of course, does not mean knowledge. لم يخف عليه شيء. It means that he has an insight that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enabled him certain knowledge, like this one, knowing the name of Ibrahim al-Khawas. So after he said, this man, he who knows God knows all things, I see that he has granted you a spiritual state, said I, Ibrahim al-Khawas. Why then do you not ask him, ask God, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you from those hornets? But he replied, the man replied, I see that you too have a state in God's sight. Why then do you not ask him to protect you from your desire for pomegranates? For the sting of pomegranates is felt in the afterlife, while that of hornets is felt in this world alone. At this I left him and went on my way. Now, those of us who ate so many pomegranates in their lives, what will be of us? I'm asking this question because after he replied about this thing of pomegranates in the afterlife, and that that of the hornets is felt only in this world. At this, Ibn Khawas said, I left him and went on my way. As-Sari, and inshallah this is As-Sari Saqzi, said, for 40 years my soul has been asking me to dip my bread into some treacle, and really the word in Arabic is dips, so molasses. Okay, but he would not really fulfill his desire. his soul's desire to have to dip a piece of bread in molasses. The Prophet ﷺ loved basically honey. He used to like eating from the shoulder, like roasted, cooked shoulder of either sheep or goat. I'm just simply giving an example I gave to. Thus, Imam Ghazali continues, it is that one can never reform the heart so that it follows the path of the afterlife until one has prevented the soul from taking pleasure in what is permitted. For the soul, if followed, if allowed, some permitted things, will then desire others which are forbidden. In this way, the man who wishes to keep his tongue free from backbiting and chatter should remain silent in all things save the remembrance of God subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the duties of religion until such time as his desire for speech dies, for then he will speak only in ways that are proper, so that both his silence and his speaking become forms of worship. Indeed, if you are silent for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you speak for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in both cases they are form of worship. Similarly, for as long as the eye is accustomed to looking at all that is beautiful, it will not restrain itself from looking upon that which is forbidden to it. The حدائق ذات بهجة, these colorful gardens that are mentioned in the Quran, these uh, gardens uh, that have fruit trees. Subhanallah. The the eye basically, if it's used to look at these signs in the universe and listening to these signs in the universe, a beautiful bird and a beautiful singing of the bird, one might remember verses from the Quran rather than desiring that which is prohibited. You will fulfill the desire for beauty from um, that which is not prohibited. So you listen to a bird, you hear a bird singing. Maybe that's really a praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe that's part of the meaning, at least, of وَالطَّيْرُ صَافَّاتٍ كُلٌّ قَدْ عَلِمَ صَلَاتَهُ وَتَسْبِيحَهُ. Prayer and praise. كُلٌّ قَدْ عَلِمَ صَلَاتَهُ وَتَسْبِيحَهُ. Sayyidina Dawud alayhi salam, يا جبال أوبِ معه والطير. So the mountains will echo and the birds will repeat, or they engage, they are part of this uh, singing of praise, the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so it is with other desires, since the faculty with which one desires is the permissible, And so it is with the other desires, since the faculty with which one desires the permissible is the same as that with which one desires the prohibited. Desire is one thing, and the bondsman of God is required to restrain it from forbidden things. If the soul is not accustomed to being confined to the essentials, its desires will gain control. This constitutes one of the hazards which inhere in illicit things. Behind them lies a greater hazard, which is that the soul might take pleasure in its enjoyment of this world and incline towards it and find contentment therein because of its exuberance and vanity until it becomes intoxicated. The soul becomes intoxicated with this. After the fashion of a drunkard who never wakes from his inebriation, from his intoxication, from his drunkenness. This rejoicing in the world is a deadly poison which runs in a man's veins, driving from the heart all fear and sadness, and all remembrance of death and of the terrors of the day of arising, the day of the resurrection. Thus does it constitute the death of the heart. God, exalted is He, has said, they desire the life of the world and feel secure therein, and they rejoice in the life of the world, whereas the life of the world is but a brief comfort as compared with the afterlife. ورضوا بالحياة الدنيا واطمأنوا بها. And the next verse mentioned immediately, know that the life of the world is but play and idle talk, pageantry and boasting among you, and rivalry in wealth and children. So the order really we have ورضوا بالحياة الدنيا واطمأنوا بها. They desire the life of the world and feel secure therein. And the next one is وما الحياة الدنيا في الآخرة إلا متاع. Uh, and they rejoice in the life of this world whereas the life of the world is but a brief, but a comfort as compared with the afterlife. And the third verse, know that the life of the world is but a play and idle talk, pageantry and boasting among you, and rivalry in wealth and children. اعلموا أنما الحياة الدنيا لعب ولهو وزينة وتفاخر بينكم وتكاثر في الأموال والأولاد. Imam Ghazali commented on all of these. He said, وكل ذلك ذم لها فنسأل الله السلامة. All of this constitutes a condemnation of the world, and we ask God for His safekeeping. Is them a condemnation? Definitely. For example, if you talk about, if compared to the hereafter, this life, إلا متاع, brief comfort. In fact, it's time-wise, this life is almost zero compared to eternity, infinity. Divide any number by infinity, what you will get. And the third verse, when it speaks about this life as being play and boasting and increasing monies and children, okay, definitely is the case. In fact, one of the serious problems today around the world is that many married people do not want to have children. They don't. They are not reproducing, and they are not many countries, demographically, they are not really keeping the same numbers, and this is why they open the doors for immigration, and then xenophobia and Islamophobia and hate. And but here, uh, I think we it's about how you relate to it. I will, inshallah, I will attempt to uh, go over this at the beginning, inshallah, of the next session. It's an important topic, and enough for inshallah for this one. Until the next one. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.